There's me overseas, across the pond by the Dover Peaks. I've smuggled myself into new nationality.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Halfway broadcasting from around the world in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. So today, guys, I wanted to make a video for those of you who have never actually taught in a classroom before. Maybe you've taken TEFL or you have had like some training to be a teacher. You're coming here to Phnom Penh and you have like no idea really what it's like to actually be a teacher. So I've spoken about teaching in some of my videos, some of the like in classroom stuff that you go through in terms of like classroom management and setting up classrooms, and you know, I've spoken a little bit about teaching and stuff. But I wanted to talk a little bit about things that like maybe you don't think about as much that will be involved in your teaching career. So I was sitting here, I'm going over just the end of our term in my school. So I was going over like my finals and doing grades and progress reports and putting all of our homework and all of our classwork and everything, just kind of putting it together and making grades and doing that kind of stuff. So like when you get hired for a job here, it's likely that you're only going to be teaching, you know, maybe 5 or 6 hours a day. I have heard of, you know, some people maybe that like do 8 hours a day. Oh, we have a cat visitor. What's up, little bad cat? How you doing? So, you know, so in terms of in-classroom teaching, maybe you're only like working like 5 or 6 hours, you know, 7 or 8 hours even in a classroom, but even, you know, 5 or 6 hours. And you're thinking like, oh, I work, you know, 5 or 6 hours a day. There's a lot more that goes into it than just working 5 or 6 hours a day. So there's creating lesson plans. There is creating worksheets, creating homework, creating games, creating activities. So all of your prep work, everything that you do in preparation before your class. And then also everything that you will be doing, you know, after the class. So again, grading tests, grading homework, grading classwork, you know, going over the assignments, you know, calculating averages, putting everything together, creating progress reports. So it's a lot more than just, you know, you go to work for 5 or 6 hours a day and then that's it. There's a lot more stuff that you have to do. So let me give you like a small example. Like I said, right now I'm going over my, you know, the grades that I'm doing. And I'm going to kind of flip the camera around here. Just do it. All right, so if we look at these, like this is the first thing like I'll go over. So we have these are like my folders to my students. So you figure, you know, every one of these folders represents, you know, a student's work for the term or for the semester or the marking period, however you look at it. So inside of these, so if we open one of these up, let's see there. You know, we can see all the, you know, all the work that this student has done. And, you know, in terms of, you know, a lot of quizzes and tests and stuff. As well as outside of that, you know, we also have like the actual workbooks, you know, their study books, their reading material, all of that kind of stuff. So that's one thing, is collecting all of their data and their information and all of their progress. And also, so what we do at my school, which I think is actually a pretty good idea, is whenever a student like completes something, we hold on to everything until like the end of a marking period or the end of a term. And then we send everything at home, to go home to the parents. So this way, you know, they can see everything that their student has done and accomplished, you know, over the term that they've had. So that's the first thing. Then we also at my school, so we have these progress reports. My other school, we had progress reports also. They were done a little bit differently, but essentially the same thing. Probably most schools are. So if we look at mine, like you can see there's like all these like boxes that you're ticking for their different subjects and how they kind of how their overall performance was, whether, it was like really good, pretty good, decent average, below average, whatever. And then also a written progress report. So this one's a blank one that I just grabbed. But basically, so I teach so I have like 3 areas that I have to mark for. So one of them is for Chinese. So obviously I don't teach Chinese. We have a Chinese teacher, so they do that. So I have 20 some, maybe close to 30 students throughout the day. So I have to write essentially 3 progress reports for each student. So this is every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks I have to create 90 progress reports. Then also, we have our grading for the students, marking, when they come to school, their attendance, you're responsible for all of that stuff. And, the grade averages, all of that kind of stuff. So that's like one aspect of it, in terms of like, actual like teacher stuff that you're doing. So aside from in the classroom, like actually teaching and actually performing the lesson, you're also, again, creating the lesson, creating the, the classwork, creating the homework, grading the homework, creating the quizzes, creating the tests, grading the quizzes, grading the tests, putting together all of their grades, calculating all of their grades, keeping track of, again, attendance and all their assignments, and just, all the stuff that is outside of actual physical, like sitting inside of a classroom teaching. But then there's also the dynamic that you're with these students, depending on your school, maybe I don't know. I teach in the morning and the afternoon, so 6 hours total between 2 different classes usually. So with most students, I'm with them like 3 hours a day. Right now in my school, I have maybe 5 or 6 students that go all day, so I'm with them, 5 or 6 hours every day. And so it's funny, like you learn about these students. You begin to like know them, like you're a part of their life. And like you will laugh with these kids, you will cry with these kids, maybe not, but like I had one student, so I have this one student, and she's like this really sweet little kid, but like, I don't know, she annoys some of the other students, I feel like sometimes. And she doesn't intend to. It's not like she's trying to. She's just like, she's a little bit like princessy. And like sometimes I think the other students get like a little bit annoyed with her, but she means well. She just has like a little bit of like a princessy attitude to her. And sometimes like the other kids maybe like they'll exclude her a little bit from like doing things. And I remember one time she came up to my classroom, like they were on break, they were at recess, and I was upstairs doing some stuff, and she's like bawling, she's crying so hard. And she runs into my classroom, and so she's telling me, she's like, the other students, like I'm trying to play with them, and they won't play with me, and then I was sharing like my crackers with them, and they wouldn't share with me, and then, nobody likes me, and nobody wants to be my friend. And like I sat down, I was talking to her for like maybe 5-10 minutes, and she's just bawling her eyes out. And like I don't remember exactly what I said, but I was trying to be like really encouraging to her, be like, even sometimes, or whatever. It's like sometimes in life, like there's like all these different kinds of people, and we have to, do blah blah blah. And like all of a sudden, literally before I do it, like I was crying. Like I wasn't like bawling, but like there were literally tears like coming out of my eyes, and I was like, oh my god. And it's true, like you look at these kids, man, and like they're like, they become like this really important thing to you, and they all have like their different personalities, and you can almost predict in like so many situations like how they're going to react to things. And like some kids are so funny, and some kids are like really serious, and some kids are just crazy. Like I have this one crazy kid in the morning, and I think he was really bad when I first started. When I first started teaching there, and he's still a wild child. Like he'll just be sitting there sometimes if you're like, yo dude, like I need you to do something, and he's like, ah, he'll just start screaming, and he doesn't do it as much anymore. And like as annoying as it was, like I've tried to do my best to like stop him from doing that kind of stuff, and most of the time like he's a lot better than he used to be, but he still has like this very strong like I'm a crazy kid personality. And I used to hate it. Like he used to be like one of my most problematic students. And now, like, because I've learned how to deal with him, like I learned his personality, I learned what works with him, what doesn't work with him, the best way to like mitigate a situation that's getting like a little bit out of control, where he's starting to, you know, lose himself a little bit, and bring him back and reel him back. And then he's a really good kid. He's a really cool kid. He just has a lot of energy, and he just needs a lot of like stimulation and a lot of attention. And that's the thing too. Like, you learn, you know, your quiet kids, and you learn how to, you know, deal with them, and you know, the kids that are a little bit more vibrant. And like, those are the things too. Those are the things that, like, I don't think you're going to learn like on a tefl. Maybe you'll learn, you know, some form of like discipline, and it'll teach you some of those skills. But in terms of like, these are just people. They're just like these like little people that have like extreme emotions a lot. And like, especially if your students are like decent speaking English, like, it's kind of cool, like, again, just to watch them grow. And like, I've been with my same students. So when they graduated, so I was with them when, like, you know, 6 months ago or whatever. But when I first started, the school's like super new, but we were going through like a transition for the term. So they graduated to like the next level. So what they did was, my school decided like, hey, you already had these kids for like a month or so. We're going to graduate you with them. Like, so I'm still teaching the same kids. So I've been teaching these same kids for like 7 months now. And it's like, they really grow on you, and like, you just learn so much about them. And that's something that I do too. Like, every Monday or after a holiday, something I always do, like on Monday, we'll go in and I'll sit down and say like, I ask everybody like, hey, what did you do this weekend? Did you go anywhere? Did you play with your friends? Did you, you know, watch TV? Whatever, just anything. And it's really cool to have that conversation with them. And they'll talk to you, and then they'll talk to each other, and like, you learn about like their like lives, like what they do with their family, where do they go on vacation. I know some of my students go away like every weekend. They go to like the beach or like, you know, somewhere. And then there's like the kids that like, I always know, like, oh, we went to the mall and hung out. And then I know, you know, the kids that are like, oh, we went to play soccer, we went down to the park or whatever, the soccer field, and played soccer. Or we stayed at home, we played video games. Or like, we went to my like, you know, aunt's house. And it's funny, like, a lot of the students do the same thing a lot. And it's just like, I don't know, it's cool, man. So there's like the dynamic of it of like, hey, outside of the classroom, there's a lot more that goes on in terms of like preparing for a class and doing class stuff. But inside the classroom, there's also a lot of stuff that goes on that is like, just like, it's cool. I don't know, guys. There's a lot to teaching. It's an awesome career. I absolutely love, like, I love it like more and more, like every day, like, it's really cool. So guys, again, if you're in the US or, you know, whatever, and you guys are looking for something, if you guys are stuck, if you're stuck in some, you know, some job that you don't like, or that you don't see any opportunity, like, guys, you can come here and have like an honest career, like not just a job, like you can have a career. You know, if that's what you want to do. Teaching English is like a, you know, multi-billion-dollar industry. Like, it's a huge thing, and you know, whether you're doing it here or wherever you want to do it, like, there's a lot of opportunity in it, and it's like you're doing something meaningful, and like, you can wake up feeling good like every day. Like, wake up like, hey, like, I'm doing something very productive, and like, I, you know, have like an awesome career. And you know, guys, if you want to experience that, like, contact me, guys. I'll leave all my social applications in the description, my email, Facebook, and Snapchat. Be sure to add me on all those. All right, guys, Halfway broadcasting around the world. Actually, also, so May 1st, I said that I was going to be doing the random drawing for the little Phnom Penh, Cambodia prize. So I might extend that a little bit. For those of you, so again, guys, add my Facebook. I'll leave it in here. Add my Snapchat, and one lucky winner is going to receive a cool little prize from Cambodia that I'm going to ship to you. So if you live outside of Cambodia, I'm going to try to find something unique to Cambodia. Again, maybe something like handmade, or something that like is exclusively Cambodian. Something small. It's going to be something small and cheap. Don't expect like, I don't know what you might expect, but I want to send you guys something really cool, again, for all my viewers. So again, add my Facebook, Snapchat, email me. Halfway broadcasting from around the world in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. Peace, guys. Be easy.